And then it can sometimes be hard to speak openly about what you need, and even for yourself, know what you need, because you think in that moment that that work lifestyle of go 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 is actually feeding into your happiness and feeding into what's going to make you feel good. Now what we do know is that there has been a lot of losses over the past couple years from people in the fashion entertainment industry, like Alexander McQueen, Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, and that were lost way too soon from silent suffering, and then had their friends come out and make beautiful documentaries talking about how they saw them suffering, but didn't know how to help, or how to be able to be a voice to say he needs a day or she needs a day to rest, recoup, and serve themselves before they can get back on that fast pace.
Yeah.
uh you've spoken to me about these deaths in the past, and I want to know, how do you feel like it really shook up the fashion industry as a whole?
I mean, McQueen was the first time that I remember being jolted by a celebrity death, because it's just the manner in which he left was so sad. And we think of the brilliance and the radiance and all this light. That's what we get as the
Mm,
general public, but as you said, it's just you never know what someone is going through. I'm sure those close to him, um, I have to believe had no idea, because if you did have an idea, you would be in there doing everything in your power to help that person out. So it's such a silent but deadly disease. And so yeah, McQueen shook me up a lot. I really had to take time to process that. And then, with the passing of Kate Spade, that jilted me out of nowhere. I think that one was very surprising for a lot of people. Again, given her like public persona, just very like bright and like florals and just a very happy vibe. So
mm.
to lose her in that way as well was just so daunting. And then Anthony, that was just heartbreaking as well, because again, you've got someone so beloved that just like behind the scenes, maybe isn't reciprocating all that love that's coming their way. That's maybe, not the story behind the scenes.
And I think for the better, it sort of allowed the fashion industry to sort of take a step back and to recognize that people are suffering, and that maybe the ness of the fast-paced lifestyle, although it is beautiful at times and it draws a lot of us in, I have to say the adrenaline rush is what draws me into fashion, and I love it dearly, and I think it's a drug at its best in some ways. But I also think that it can become very lonely at many times. And I think that is something in which can sort of take a hold of you and make you feel like you're the only person suffering, because people are still fast paced around you while you are feeling lonely. Even if you do have, a 30-person team around you telling you that you're the best, it's that one person that says that you aren't. And I think sometimes that can very much affect us as artists, and especially in this industry, particularly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how do you think that it's affected you? I know that you've spoken a little bit about people pleasing, and
Yeah.
how that sort of uh, was a space in your life where, because you were people pleasing, it then took you to a downward spiral that then ignited something bigger and a huge changing moment in your life, which I really want to get into because I'm so proud of you for it. And I think it was a huge shift for us to start to have an open conversation as friends about what you were really dealing with behind the scenes.
I think that, like I didn't have an outlet, and I think as creatives, there's something about our sensitivity level that I think just on a whole is like there's a higher sensitivity going on. And then you've got just like there's buzziness always happening. You're
Mm,
always thinking of the next step. You're always like just thinking up and dreaming up things in your head, because I think that creatives, like, we are the dreamers out there. And so that takes on so much, that you've got people depending on you. You've got all these ideas bursting out of you at any given moment. If you don't have some sort of stability and grounding going on, it's so easy to just get carried away by all of that. And that's exactly what happened to me, is that burnout became a very real thing in my life, because what I thought was, the correct thing, which was to give it 110%. Sure, I was doing that, but I was overdoing it. I was
Mm.
completely neglecting myself. And it just got to a point that I had no healthy coping mechanisms, and I was reaching for substances. I was reaching maybe even for like people that shouldn't have been in my life. Like I was desperate for those tools, but just like didn't have them. And unfortunately, what I was able to grasp onto became like very big negatives in my life that led to, a bit of a downward spiral.
So hard for me to hear because I don't think me and you were very close at that period of time because I was traveling and we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the sort of relationship that we've had in the past or that we have now. And um, to know that you were going through all of that and silently suffering while still trying to, put on the brave face of I've got it all together is really difficult to hear. And I know that the fashion industry is one that puts a lot of pressure on many people, and what I'm hearing is that it was like it creative release flipped into then going straight to just pressure filled, and that
Yeah.
pressure filled teetered way more than the creative release, and it's like you couldn't get away from it.